Thank you so much for joining today's session. I would like to welcome each one of you to this session. I would also like to welcome all the members of Jain Study Group who have joined with us today for this session, as well as members of Terapanth Professional Forum who have also participated with us in this session. I would like to extend a special welcome to our today's chief guest, Sri Surendra Patwari, who have kindly agreed to give his time for today's session despite his busy schedule, as well as special welcome to Sri Dilipbhai Mehta. He's the one, in fact, who ideated and organized this session on our behalf, as well as on behalf of Jain Study Group. Also a special welcome to our mentor and our guru, Dr. Bipin Doshi. जैसा कि आपने देखा कि हमारे पिछले 2 सेशन में हमने डिस्कस किया हाउ वी कैन रिड्यूस consumption of avoidable resources, but there's only so much that we can reduce in our current lifestyle. Resource consumption has increased many-fold as compared to what it was few years ago. And if we continue with this kind of a resource consumption, you all can imagine, I mean, future generation के लिए क्या बचेगा? But क्या करें? Can we change our lifestyle? Can we go back to 500 years? शायद नहीं. So यदि आज की lifestyle में ही जीना है और resources को future generations के लिए बचाना भी है, तो how do we do that? And वो हमारे आज के जो चीफ गेस्ट है श्री सुरेंद्र जी पटवारी जी बहुत अच्छी तरीके से कर रहे हैं थ्रू रिसाइकलिंग एंड नॉट जस्ट सेविंग द रिसोर्सेस बट आल्सो डूइंग इट प्रॉफिटेबली. आई मीन एनी इनिशिएटिव दैट यू टेक, आप कोई भी इनिशिएटिव लो वेदर चैरिटेबल और नॉन चैरिटेबल, इट इज सक्सेसफुल इफ ओनली आप उसको सस्टेनेबल बना सको, इफ ओनली इफ दैट इज सेल्फ फंडेड. सो रिसाइकलिंग कैसे कर सके, how do we save the mother earth for future generation, how do we conserve the resources, and how do we do it in a profitable manner? Mr. Surendra ji is going to talk about it, and I'm really keen, and I know, I mean, everybody here is really keen for today's session. So without much ado, now I would invite our mentor Dr. Bipin Doshi to say a few words, and then we will continue with our session. Over to you, sir.
Okay, now I'm allowed to mute. आप सबको सादर जय जिनेंद्र. सबसे पहले तो it's a great initiative done by our academy with the great support of Sangeeta ji. Dilip bhai has joined the hands with us now, and I think he should be called a mentor and not me. Surendra ji is our special guest. जब भी मैंने सुरेंद्र जी से बात की तो आई वाज सो इम्प्रेस्ड कि भाई प्रोडक्शन का जितना बिजनेस है उससे भी ज्यादा वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट का बिजनेस है. तो मैंने सब दोस्तों को कहा कि भाई आप बिजनेस सीखने के लिए भी आ सकते हैं. भगवान महावीर ने श्रावकाचार में 3 चीजें बहुत अच्छी कही है. अपरिग्रह कहा है, कम से कम चीज का उपयोग करो. अनर्थ दंड कहा है, जरूरत नहीं है वहां कुछ भी मत बनाओ, कुछ भी मत करो. तो लास्ट में अगर जरूरत है तो भोग उपभोग परिमाण, ये 3 शब्द से पूरी इकोनॉमी समझाई है. लेकिन हम जानते हैं कि आज के काल में, आज के समय में some of these things are not really applicable. और उस समय पे जब भी इतना वेस्ट बन रहा है तो उसकी मैनेजमेंट कैसे करें, तो ये विषय बहुत अच्छा है. मैं ज्यादा समय नहीं लूंगा क्योंकि यू ऑल वांट टू लिसन द ग्रेट वर्ड्स ऑफ सुरेंद्र जी. ऑब्वियसली संगीता जी ने तो कह दिया है. मैं नवीन जी का, जो हमारे तेरापंथ के प्रेसिडेंट है, उसका, ऑब्वियसली दिलीप भाई और उसकी पूरी टीम जो जैन स्टडी ग्रुप से हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, उन सबको भी आभार प्रदर्शित करता हूँ. एंड लेट अस लिसन. भगवान महावीर की बात भी कैसे समझे. मैं मानता हूँ कि वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट एक जिन शासन की सेवा है, और हमें उस दृष्टि से देखना है कि हम पैसे भी कमाएं और जिन शासन की सेवा भी करें. With these few words, thank you very much. Over to you, Sangeeta ji.
Thank you, sir. With this, now I would like to invite Shri Dilipai Mehta to introduce our chief guest, Shri Surendra Patwari. Dilipai
जय
Mehta.
जिनेंद्र. जय जिनेंद्र. करीब एक महीने पहले मैं सुरेंद्र भाई से मिला यहाँ मेरी दुबई ऑफिस में. And we know each other for last 15 years or 20 years. And he just came in, and that's the time when Jain study group was discussing about the recycling and the single-use plastic and so on. And I kind of mentioned to him, and I said, you are in the recycling business, and this is what we think. And he said, there's quite a lot of misconception is the word he used, and misunderstanding. And he said it'll be useful, for you people to understand. So I took the opportunity, and I thought, it'll be a great thing to invite Surendra ji, to this session, which is happening now. And so therefore, I'm very pleased to be inviting you, to welcome you all to this Jain study group, along with the entire Mumbai University people, I would say, and Terapan people. And so सभी जैन समाज से जुड़े हुए सभी सबको मैं आपको वेलकम कर रहा हूँ. थोड़ी बात मुझे सुरेंद्र भाई की करनी है, and need to introduce you who he is and how important that person is, and I'm so pleased that he accepted our invitation. So Surendra Bhai is founder of and chairman of Gemini Corporation NV, which is a Belgian company and world largest circular economic market maker. Founded in 1989 in Belgium, Gemini is engaged into worldwide resource recycling, distributing plastic, paper, metal, rubber, giving second life to 2 million tons of the material every year. मैं उन ऑफिस में गया हुआ हूँ, and मैंने खुद देखा है, the samples, of course, it wasn't a workshop, but it was quite impressive. And, apart from his business career, which happens to be the right thing to do in light of Jainism, he is a very active part of the Jain community globally, and also very much involved in the cultural activity of Jain community globally. Late Acharya Mahapragya ji, उन्होंने उनको युवक रत्न का टाइटल दिया हुआ था 2002. सुरेंद्र भाई, हम लोग सब जेम डायमंड बिजनेस में है. हम लोग ने ये जेम को पहचाना नहीं था. उन्होंने पहचान लिया. And I think it's the right, actually, recognition of all the work that you had done. And then, of course, he will be, Swagat Daksha of Acharya Sri Maha श्रमण जी, जब भी वो चतुर्मास करेंगे मुंबई में 2023 में, तभी वो वहाँ he will be there, of course. And he sponsored the establishment of Jain Acharya in Jain chair in University of Belgium. At that time, I didn't know that Ghent he had actually supported that initiative. So Surendra Bhai, congratulations for all the work that you have done. And then, of course, if I can continue talking about you, Surendra Bhai is board member of Alliance of End Plastic Waste and member of World Economic Forum, Global Plastic Action Partnership. He is chairman of and CEO of Global Plastic Task Force that comes directly under His Highness Prince Charles. He has won several international awards, and probably one of the most prestigious one is the Excellence in Sustainability in 2020 award by World Economic Forum. And those who are aware of World Economic Forum, they understand, how important that event is, which happens every February in Switzerland. And जब भी मैं उनसे बात कर रहा था तो उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि जो people who are garbage pickers, they get decent money on the paper cycling. उन्होंने मैंने बताया था कि 10 रुपया उनको मिलते, 10 रुपया में वो लोग 14 रुपया में लेते हैं, बेचते हैं, और 10 रुपीस में वो मार्केट से खरीद रहे हैं. But when it came to plastic, he said it's a very big distance. People hardly get 4 or 5 rupees, the garbage pickers, and at the market, plastic actually gets sold for 45 rupees to people who recycle like him. So he has taken that as a challenge to ensure that all the waste pickers, get a decent earning, and especially in India. And one more thing, that आपने सुरेंद्र जी 12 गांव दत्तक लिए हुए हैं, and those all in Rajasthan, of course. वहाँ आप medical, educational, infrastructural, environment development आप देख रहे हैं. It's very hard to find your match, Surendra bhai. So I'm so pleased to be able to have a person who is so unmatched, and therefore an important hasti, as we say, to be speaking to us. Thank you very much, Surendra ji. And, we are all keen to listen to you.
दिलीप भाई, इतनी सारी प्रशंसा, बहुत अच्छा लगा. प्रशंसा सभी को अच्छी लगती है, किंतु जब ये प्रशंसा अपने समाज में, अपने स्वजनों में, अपनी कम्युनिटी में होती है तो और अच्छी लगती है. थैंक यू सो मच. बहनों भाइयों, नमस्कार, जय जिनेंद्र. Let me start with an interesting, exciting story of a young lady. She could not go to any college. She had to start work at an early age to support her family. Her English was not good enough, yet with equivalent of only 350,000 rupees, she started business in waste paper in Hong Kong. 20 years later, within 20 years, she was employing 20,000 people and has been paying tax of almost 1,000 crore rupees every year. She is the largest recycler of waste paper in Asia. Her name is Mrs. Yin from the company Nine Dragons in China. She benefited herself tremendously from the recycling opportunity in US and China. What are the recycling opportunity in the world? How we can benefit tremendously equivalent to her while keeping the Jain values? This is going to be the theme of my today's presentation to you, Dilip bhai, Dr. Bipin Doshi ji, board members, Sangeeta ji, rest of distinguished guests. I live in Belgium. Within 20 kilometers of my office, there is a waste management company called Endeavour. It was sold recently for almost 4,000 crore rupees. Within the same 20 kilometers, there is another waste management company near my office called Umicore. It's investing hundreds of crores of rupees every year in recycling activities. In our neighboring country, Germany, there's a group called Remondis, also in waste management business. It employs 36,000 people and its turnover 100,000 crore rupees. Kitna kaha maine? 1,00,000 crore rupees ka turnover. And it pays every year more than 1,300 crore rupees as taxes. मैं इतनी सारी बातें आपको इतने सारे figures क्यों दे रहा हूं? Because I want to convey to you, this is a very big business, indeed a big business. As a matter of fact, I think the global waste business is as big, almost as big as the GDP of India. The GDP of India is estimated to be about $2.8 trillion. And the global waste and recycling management business is about $2.3 trillion. And every day it's growing by 1,000 crore rupees every day. Isn't it a big business? It is a big business. And to confirm this point, you just have to look near where you are sitting, in your office, at your home, or somewhere. You are sitting on furniture. Reuse and recycling of furniture is worth $5 billion, which is almost about 40,000 crore rupees. You are using mobiles, electronics, speakers, mics, servers. The reuse and recycling business of these products is almost $50 billion as per a UN study. You are using plastic folders, paints, films, packaging films. The recycling and reuse business of plastic is almost $40 billion. Batteries, finally. You use battery for multiple purposes. And the business of recycling of batteries is about $10 billion. Now you look outside the place where you are sitting. The life of 10 million vehicles has come to an end by 2020 in India alone. And the figure is going to be 25 million units vehicles by 2025. Somebody has to dismantle them. Somebody has to recover them. And that's what I meant to say, a big business. You saw inside your home, outside your home. Please go a little bit outside the rest of the world. I take you to the rest of the world. Can you believe there is a company in Holland which is engaged in recycling of metal and materials after funeral and cremation? After funeral and cremation. The company is known as Ortho Metals BV in Maple, Holland. Can you believe there is a company in US which is engaged in recycling of ladies' innerwears? Please excuse me for my next sentence. The company is known as Bra Recycling in Arizona, US. Such real life examples clearly show that there are compelling opportunities in this business. And so compelling that somebody has to do it. And somebody will do it sooner or later. And if that's the case, why not from India? Why not for Indians? And this is the point I want to emphasize. Dilip Bhai, you would agree with me that the waste and recycling business is a labor-intensive business. And this is the main reason why Europeans do not want to export plastic scrap, metal scrap to the rest of countries. They want to keep it within their countries. It provides a lot of employment, a lot of opportunities. And some of the European countries think about scrap so much that, can you believe in UK, there is a ministry for waste business. Isko waste ministry kehte the. Only recently they have renamed it as a resource ministry. India could be an important hub for recovery of materials from electrical, electronic equipments. As I said, this business is worth $50 billion as per the UN study. Holland is known for flower business, despite the fact it doesn't have enough land base. Belgium is famous for diamond business, despite the fact it doesn't have many cutting facilities. Similarly, with some challenges, with some difficulties, of course, India could be an interesting hub for recovery of materials from computers, servers, microns, mobiles, you name it, and it's possible there from electronic side. Besides, we have a legacy knowledge. It would create a lot of wealth and it would create a lot of opportunities. Every month, 1 million Indians enter the workforce for the first time. A developed recycling industry could absorb a lot of these newcomers. Culturally, socially, and economically, we are brought up with a mindset that scrap is a waste. Waste is kachra, waste is raddi ka saman, waste business is kabadi ka kaam. As a matter of fact, I had a lot of difficulty in convincing my family into allowing me to accept this business. They were shocked when they heard I wanted to do this business. My family has been in jute business. They have been doing the business in Bihar and West Bengal in jute conversions. And when they heard about it, you can understand the mindset, the response. I did chartered accountancy course in India. I took training in the Western world. And suddenly your son or grandson comes up with the idea that main kabadi ka kaam karna chahta hu. How would you feel? They argued, I would never command respect. I would never earn respect from the community which I work in and from our own community. The waste collector are known to get money by cutting corners. I would never be relied upon. I would never be trusted. And at that time, our 10th Acharya, Acharya Mahapragyaji, came to my help as a CVR. I did some seva under him, but he was not convinced either. Because at that time, there was no specification. There was no standard of plastic waste. We didn't know what to say, how to convey the quality and the color. All that time we had was a Polaroid camera. There was no fax machine either. And I would say to them, my word is as good as the materials. And how to play a fair game for the prospective customers. To overcome this situation, Acharya Mahapragyaji asked me to follow two principles religiously. First, the principle of integrity. He gave a different definition of integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's watching you. He said, you have to load in the container, in the packet, that goods, those kind of goods which you intended to load, even if the customer is not physically present to inspect the material. And secondly, the second was not more of it was not a principle, it was a warning that it would take you years to build trust and seconds to destroy it. One accident and all the past capital of belief, trust in you would be broken. This is what he really said. Well, since then, the journey has been very exciting, and I'm so happy, like Dilip Bhai said, that we could give second life to almost 2 million tons of the recyclable materials. I'd like to share the information that the material which we deal is not a household waste. We are not allowed to deal in household waste. You have a different categories there. We deal in industrial waste. I am so indebted to Acharya Mahapragyaji and Jain Mahasangh and present Guru Acharya Mahasramanji that I'm never tired of saying that whatever growth, development, achievements my company has achieved, I give credit to Jain Sangh, Jain Dhat. I remember I would do darshan of Acharya Mahapragyaji so often, each time with some heaps of questionnaires. And he would answer my queries in a way which is satisfactory to my mind. I trusted him. I believed in him. I trusted him not because he was Acharya. I believed him not because he was my guru. I trusted him, I believed him because I understood that he has so much experience of dealing with hundreds or maybe many, many thousands of people from different walks of life. Priests, professors, politicians, doctors. He taught me so many things which is absolutely inexplicable in the words. I remember talking to him about apres-grès, which we are talking about more often today. I asked him one time, Gurudev, one of the 5 principles of Jain culture is apres-grès. Does it mean that I should not expand my business? Does it mean I should not buy new companies? Does it mean I should not employ more people? He said, I never said that to you. That's not my advice. I never forbid you from doing anything which increases your business. What I want from you is the amount of money which you spend every month that should not increase. He gave a real example कि इस साल तुमने 1 करोड़ रुपए कमाए और तुम्हारे पे 1 लाख रुपया खर्चा कर रहे हो। अगली साल तुम भले ही 2 करोड़ रुपए कमा रहे हो, लेकिन तुम्हारे खुद पे खर्चा 1 लाख रुपए से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. As a matter of fact, you would be following Applied principle much more if you reduce to 99,000 rupees. What a nice way of explaining the principle of Applied. He explained me the difference between management and leadership. He says these two things are absolutely different when you run a business. Management is everything external. The factories, the office, the people, what do you sell, what's the terms of your sale, what time your people should come, where they should sit. Everything external is management. You can call it a hardware. Leadership is all internal. आपका सोचने का तरीका, आपका दृष्टिकोण, आपकी भावनाएं, आपका belief system. And that's the most important thing. He would say to me more often, quite often, कि तुम चाहे कितनी मेहनत कर लो, कितनी बार लोगों को कह दो, कितने रूल्स रेगुलेशंस लगा दो, कितने लोभ लालच दे दो, जब तक उनकी भावनाएं नहीं बदलोगे, तब तक तुम्हारी कंपनी का प्रगति नहीं हो सकता. What a nice way of saying. वो मुझे बार बार कहते थे कि अगर तुम्हारी कंपनी में ये भावना है कि यहाँ मेहनत करने वालों को कोई कदर नहीं मिलती, तो भले ही तुम रूल्स बना लो कि 9 बजे से 8 बजे तक काम करना है, लेकिन परिणाम सही नहीं होंगे. अगर तुम्हारी कंपनी में लोगों के मन में बैठा हुआ है कि भाई साहब करते कुछ है, बोलते कुछ है, तो भले ही प्रामाणिकता के बहुत सारे हिदायतें दो, उनका सही रिजल्ट नहीं आएगा. I feel so nice that I was raised with these sanskars. But sometimes in these belief in these sanskars are tested. And more so when you are living in the Western world, that the testing becomes more stronger. And ये टेस्ट हमारा, ये परीक्षाएं, ये चैलेंज हमें 5 साल पहले मिला. जो विपिन भाई, I try to चर्चा मैंने आपके सामने की थी. 5 साल पहले हमें बेल्जियम गवर्नमेंट ने एक्सेलेंट एंटरप्राइज का अवार्ड दिया. 5 साल पहले इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट ने वर्ल्ड ग्लोबल लीडर का अवार्ड दिया. तो हमने सोचा क्यों नहीं एक अच्छा सा सेलिब्रेशन किया जाए, एक अच्छी इवेंट की जाए. तो 4 महीने आगे की तिथि हमने फिक्स कर ली, 1000 गेस्ट की लिस्ट भी बना दी और वेन्यू भी फिक्स कर दिया. खाने का मेन्यू बनाने में हम लोगों को कोई तकलीफ नहीं हुई, क्योंकि सबको पता था कि इनके घर में वेजिटेरियन ही मील होगा, नॉन वेजिटेरियन का तो सवाल ही नहीं है. लेकिन जब ड्रिंक्स की बात आई तो सबके मन में ऊहापोह था कि क्या होगा इस बार. मेरे पास मेरे बेल्जियम एम्प्लॉइज, काफी एम्प्लॉइज हैं, वो आए कि मिस्टर सुरेंद्र, इस बार तो हमारी स्पेशल इवेंट है, अल्कोहल तो रखना ही पड़ेगा, हार्ड ड्रिंक रखना पड़ेगा. बड़े बड़े मिनिस्टर आ रहे हैं, बड़े बिजनेसमैन आ रहे हैं, बैंकर्स आ रहे हैं, अपने को तो ड्रिंक्स उनके रेस्पेक्ट के लिए रखना ही होगा. मैंने उनको फिर समझाया कि भी अब तक हमने ये पार्टियां बिना ड्रिंक्स, बिना नॉन वेज फूड से करते आए हैं, इस बार भी यही करेंगे. और मेरा वही मन है कि न केवल अल्कोहल ड्रिंक रखेंगे, अपन बियर भी नहीं रखेंगे. बेल्जियन लोग थोड़े सीधे साधे होते हैं, जैसा दिलीप भाई जानते हैं. थोड़ी समझाने बुझाने से उस वक्त राजी तो हो गए, लेकिन बहनों भाइयों, दूसरे दिन ही हमारे ऑफिस में हंगामा शुरू हो गया. एक बेल्जियन लेडी रोते हुए मेरे रूम में आई कि मिस्टर सुरेंद्र, आपके सामने तो वो सब हाँ भर लेते हैं, लेकिन पीछे से सब नाखुश है, आपको तो अल्कोहल ड्रिंक सर्व करना ही चाहिए. दूसरे दिन एक बेल्जियन आदमी आता है, वो कहता है, हाउ कैन यू इम्पोज योर कल्चर ऑन अस. इस तरीके से तो मैं अपने क्लाइंट्स, अपने कस्टमर को इनवाइट नहीं कर सकता. कुछ दिन बाद हमारे बेल्जियम लोगों का एक ग्रुप आया, ऑफिस के एम्प्लॉय, कि मिस्टर सुरेंद्र, यू आर मेकिंग ए बिग मिस्टेक. जहां पर अपना वेन्यू है, उसके पास ही नाइट क्लब है, अपनी इवेंट में लोग आएंगे और तुरंत चले जाएंगे चेहरा दिखा के. That would be very bad. We must consider, reconsider. बहुत असमंजस में पड़ा, बहुत दुविधा हुई, मन में आता ही रहता ये बात. इवन हमारे जैन भाई भी जो हमारे ऑफिस में है, वो कहने लगे भाई साहब भले ही हार्ड ड्रिंक मत लो, वाइन तो रख लो. ये दुविधा के वक्त मेरे ऑफिस में मेरे सामने आचार्य महाप्रज्ञ जी की फोटो फिक्स की हुई है. मैं उनकी तरफ देखता, महाराज साहब क्या करूं. और बहनों भाइयों, 5 दिन बाद इतनी हिम्मत आई, मैंने कहा कुछ भी हो जाए, ड्रिंक तो नहीं रखेंगे. ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या होगा, हमारे कस्टमर थोड़े नाराज हो जाएंगे, व्यापार कम हो जाएगा, लेकिन ड्रिंक तो नहीं रखूंगा. और मेरी वाइफ धर्म ध्यान ज्यादा रखती है, उसने भी मुझे बहुत संबल दिया. उसी वक्त बहनों भाइयों मुझे पता चला कि बेल्जियम में एक लेडी को पूरे यूरोप की बेस्ट कॉकटेल बनाने का अवार्ड मिला है. तुरंत मैं उनके पास दौड़ा गया. मैंने कहा कि हम Is there a disturbance coming in between?
Sir, we would like to mute everyone. Then you unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, please unmute yourself now.
Okay, is that right?
Yes, sir, perfectly okay.
Very good, thank you. तो मैंने उनको अपनी कंपनी के बारे में बताया, अपनी संस्कृति के बारे में बताया, और मैंने कहा कि एक बहुत शानदार पार्टी करनी है. तो बोली यही तो मेरा धंधा है, जरूर करेंगे. मैंने कहा एक किंतु है. बोले क्या? मैंने कहा अल्कोहल नहीं सर्व होगा. तो बोले फिर मेरे पास क्यों आए हो? मिठाई वाले के पास आ रहे हो. बोले मीठा कुछ नहीं बनाना है. बोले ये तो संभव हो ही नहीं सकता. फिर मैंने उनको फिर दोबारा समझाया, अपना कल्चर बताया, और उस वक्त एक छोटा सा पीस ऑफ पेपर उसके पास ही पड़ा था. मैंने साइन किया. मैंने कहा यूजुअली आई डोंट डू दिस, दिस इज बिलो डिग्निटी फॉर यू एंड फॉर मी. ये मैं ब्लैंक चेक दे रहा हूं आपको, जितना अमाउंट भरना है भर देना, जो कीमत लगानी है वो लगा देना, लेकिन आपको ड्रिंक तो करना होगा. 10 दिन बाद उन्होंने मुझे और हमारे बेल्जियन स्टाफ को बुलाया. बहुत अच्छे ड्रिंक की, सब बेल्जियन वाले खुश हो गए. एक समस्या तो खत्म हो गई. अगली बार नेक्स्ट स्टेप में मैंने हमारे 150 गेस्ट को पर्सनली फोन किया, एक एक करके फोन किया. मैंने उनको एडवांस में सूचना दी कि प्लीज डू नॉट माइंड, इस पार्टी में अल्कोहल नहीं होगा. और काफी लोग सहज ही स्वीकार कर लिया. कई लोग बोले कि क्या हम अपना ड्रिंक ला सकते हैं. मैंने कहा दैट डिफीट्स द वेरी पर्पस ऑफ द होल इवेंट. वो भी मान गए. नेक्स्ट 3 महीने बहुत ही डिफिकल्टी से गुजरे, क्योंकि वो जो वेन्यू जो टाइम था वो 3 महीने बाद था. किंतु जब इवेंट हुई 700 गेस्ट आए, और बहनों भाइयों गेस्ट ने इतना सराहा कि मैं बहुत खुश हो गया. मुझे पता चला कि इस तरह की नॉन अल्कोहलिक पार्टी बेल्जियम में बहुत ही कम होती है. और जब मैं पार्टी की तरफ देख रहा था तो मेरे मन में ये धारणा बैठ गई कि मैं कुछ भी कर सकता हूँ. अथाह शक्ति आ गई. मैं चाहूंगा ये 2.5 मिनट का वीडियो उस इवेंट का मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूं. उसमें आप पाओगे कि हमारी बिजनेस का थीम है पेपर रिसाइकलिंग, प्लास्टिक रिसाइकलिंग, मेटल रिसाइकलिंग. और जैसा दिलीप भाई ने कहा, वी प्लांटेड 100,000 ट्रीज. हम लोगों ने गांव गोद ले रखे हैं, और हम स्कूल भी चला रहे हैं. उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा डिस्क्रिप्शन है थ्रू ए थीम. और उसमें स्वागत करने वाली मेरी बेटी जो लॉस एंजलिस बेस्ड है, वो स्वागत कर रही है. सो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू इन्फॉर्म यू, प्लीज 2.5 मिनट का वीडियो जरूर देखें. ओवर टू यू.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the Market of Wonders.
Thank you for being present here to share our passion for recycling. We believe we make the world a better place to live by recycling 1.2 million tons of recyclables. Along the way, we like to make some money, which we share by doing some social responsibilities. This beautiful planet and this beautiful earth we have borrowed from our children. It's our duty to really take good care of it.
Germany started with exporting 1 container. Now they are exporting 5,000 containers every month.
From such a humble beginning for 1 container to 5,000 container, the society is always behind their mind. I hope all business people should have the same passion.
Thank you for watching it. पर बहनों भाइयों रुकिए आप, क्लाइमेक्स नहीं आया है दिलीप भाई, अब थोड़ा नेक्स्ट पॉइंट में बता रहा हूँ. जैसे अपने इंडिया में फिल्म फेयर अवार्ड होता है ना, वी नॉमिनेट बेस्ट कंपटीशंस में, अवार्ड्स में, तो उसी तरह यहाँ पर भी कंपटीशन हुई. 1500 ऐसे इवेंट्स का कंपटीशन हुआ पूरा यूरोप वाइज. और क्या आप विश्वास करेंगे, अपनी नॉन अल्कोहलिक इवेंट को पूरे यूरोप में सेकंड बेस्ट इवेंट का अवार्ड मिला. एंड जो जज ने रिमार्क दिया, इट्स इन द न्यूज़पेपर, कि पार्टी तो शानदार थी, बट ही मेड ए स्पेशल पॉइंट कि इसमें अल्कोहल नहीं था. इस पार्टी के बाद हम और भी पार्टियां यहाँ बेल्जियम में करते आए हैं. और मैं अगला सेंटेंस जो बोल रहा हूँ वो गरूर के साथ नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, गर्व के साथ बोल रहा हूँ कि आप किसी भी बेल्जियम में बिराजे इंडियंस को पूछें तो वो बताएंगे कि सुरेंद्र जी के ग्रुप की पार्टी स्पेशली होती है. भले ही अल्कोहल सर्व नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन हमारा इनविटेशन वो बड़े चाव और खुशी से स्वीकार करते हैं. But I'm going to give you a bigger shock as well. I do not believe that the wine is bad for everybody. I don't believe that so. If this is the case, यहाँ पर billions of लोग drink कर रहे हैं. Are they out of sense? Are they out of mind? And our children who are raised and brought up here, they also have the same question. On the one hand, our parents keep forbidding us from drinking. At the same time, our friends' parents encourage them to test wine during the birthdays. Why so? Why double contradictory behavior? And this is the answer I usually give to them, that they have different ways of thinking. They have different mindset. My Guru Acharya Mahapragyaji explained me, taught me so wisely that we have no right to make judgment on the behavior and actions of other people. There are reasons why they are doing what they are doing. It could be the reason of lack of resources, climate, or could be other reasons. He asked me to remain neutral, non-judgmental on the actions and behavior of other people. And this is what our Jain philosophy teaches us. Everything as a two-way or multiple way of looking at the things. This is what the theory of Anekant has been teaching us. And I personally feel by practicing this as much as possible, I have been able to make a lot of headways. I could think laterally, horizontally, without prejudice. And this has opened up many, many ways for us, different ways. I feel blessed to be born in this community. We have worldwide about 400 office executives. Many of them are Jain executives from Jain culture background. I'm not a racist, but when a Jain is hired, we know his thought process, his mindset, his cultural background. We know how to motivate it, how to train him. His thought process is known to us. And my group is always looking for people for expansion of business, both in India and abroad, young and even retired people. Please share the details of our group with your friends, families, nephews, neighbors, in case they are interested to join this grand business of recycling. Our team will be happy to consider their services. I'd like to thank Dilip Bhai, his board members, Dr. Bipin Doshi, Sangeeta ji, everybody in the team for giving me this platform to share my views on recycling on Jain cultures. Thank you so much. I'm at your disposal for any comments and queries. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Surendra ji, for an excellent speech. We would want this session to be really interactive, and I would request everyone from the audience, whether on Zoom session or on Facebook Live, to post their questions in the chat box. And I would request my colleague, Vishal Mehta, to read out the questions. Over to you, Vishal.
All right. Thank you very much, Surendra ji. It's indeed a very, very inspiring journey that you just narrated. I mean, you just gave a glimpse of it. It's really very interesting. And especially right from breaking the stereotype of the family, the society, and venturing into a completely different arena. It's really, really interesting to learn more about it. Sir, my first question, I mean, what inspires me is that, you know, what advice you would like to give to the young people today who want to enter into this business, because it's not just business, but also you are discharging a kind of a social obligation while making money. तो उनके लिए आपकी कोई क्या सलाह है? What kind of a roadmap you propose, you suggest? कुछ उसके ऊपर आप कुछ आपकी advice चाहते हैं?
Thank you, Vishalji. I feel happy to be part of the interactive session. I think making speech is easier, but to be interactive with the audience, that makes a bigger difference. And I try to convey to you all that there's plenty of opportunities. What I would like to use your questions to give a different meaning. The young professionals, people, young entrepreneur, what they should or should not do. I feel success has set patterns. And a few things I try to follow, I'd like to share with all of you. The first thing I strongly believe, and that's also related to our culture, the mornings should be yours. Subah ke malik aap hone chahiye. And unfortunately, that's not the case with many of the people. And what I do to make sure the mornings are mine, मैं दो मोबाइल फोन रखता हूँ. एक मोबाइल फोन जिसमें व्हाट्सएप है, मैसेजेस हैं, ईमेल्स हैं, वो नीचे ही रखता हूँ. I never bring it to the bedroom. दूसरा मोबाइल फोन में इमरजेंसी कॉन्टेक्ट के लिए, फैमिली मेंबर्स के लिए, और यूट्यूब, इंटरनेट, वो मैं बेडरूम में रखता हूँ. I believe दुनिया में कोई सबसे बुरी चीज पैदा हुई है व्हेन इट कम्स टू चंचलता बढ़ाने के लिए, टू लूज योर पीस ऑफ माइंड, वो है मोबाइल फोन। सुबह उठते ही अगर आप मोबाइल फोन देखते हैं तो आपका पूरा एजेंडा हाईजैक हो जाता है। आप फायर फाइटिंग में चले जाते हैं। वो पेमेंट नहीं आया, वो आदमी नहीं आ रहा है, उधर जाना है, वहां ये चैलेंज हो गया, डिलीवरी नहीं हुआ। मैं कहता हूं सुबह के 1-2 घंटा आपके खुद के होने चाहिए। यही चीज हमारी सामायिक की जो प्रक्रिया है वो सिखाती है, 48 मिनट्स। इसी के साथ मैं बार बार मैं मन में सोचता हूं कि आप आज भी वही काम कर रहे हैं, वही सोच रहे हैं जो कल करते आए। आज भी वही स्मृतियां, वही घटनाओं के बारे में, वही आदमियों के बारे में करते आए हो जो आप कल करते आए हो। तो आने वाला कल बीते हुए कल से बेहतर कैसे हो सकता है? I repeat the point. If you have been doing what you have been doing all the time in the past, how can the future be better than the past? अपने को पुरानी स्मृतियों को विराम देना होगा, उनको रोकना होगा। और कैसे दे? सामायिक, 48 मिनट्स का सामायिक। मैंने जो कुछ भी समझा है कि सामायिक के दौरान अपने को व्यापार के बारे में बात नहीं सोचनी है, गृह गृहस्थी के बारे में नहीं सोचनी है, पास पड़ोसी के बारे में नहीं सोचनी है, अपने बारे में सोचनी है। और उस वक्त मैं क्या करता हूं, मैं YouTube का बहुत सहारा लेता हूं। इतने सारी चीजें हैं वहां खुद को इम्प्रूव करने की, आपके हेल्थ के लिए, आपका माइंड सेट करने के लिए। तो सबसे पहला मैं यंग एंटरप्रेन्योर प्रोफेशनल्स को कहता हूं, प्लीज अपना मोबाइल पास में नहीं रखिए सुबह सुबह। मैंने तो मेरे आचार्य श्री महासमन जी से वादा ली है कि मैं ऑफिस टाइम में 2 घंटा मोबाइल नहीं रखूंगा, और मेरा मन है कि मैं 5 घंटा इस क्रिया को लंबा करूं। दूसरा मेरा इन लोगों से कहना है कि जो भी आप तरीके से आप मन में सोचे, वो निश्चित रूप से उसका फल मिलता है। वो बहुत बार मैंने सुना है सिनेमा में शिवानी जी से कि संकल्प से सृष्टि होती है। अपने फिल्म एक्टर कहते हैं कि पूरी कायनात आपको हेल्प करती है, आप पूरी डिटर्मिनेशन के साथ होते हो। और ये मेरी लाइफ का एग्जाम्पल है। मैं कोई चीज पूरे मन से सोचता हूं तो नेचर हेल्प करती है। Don't go by what the word says. Don't go by your friends, families. Follow your dream all the way, और एक एक्शन जरूर कर। तीसरी चीज मैं जो फॉलो करने की चेष्टा करता हूं, रेज योर स्टैंडर्ड्स। अगर आपके आसपास रहने वाले 9 आदमी कोविड की समस्याओं की चर्चा करते हैं, व्यापार की विवस्थाओं की चर्चा करते हैं, फाइनेंशियल डिफिकल्टीज की चर्चा करते हैं, तो 10वां भी आप भी वैसे ही हो जाओगे। Raise your standard. And finally, every morning in the afternoon, I keep on asking questions to myself, positive questions. ये माइंड ऐसा है, आपका कंप्यूटर जवाब देता रहता है। आप उनको पूछो कि आप क्यों लेट आए, अपने परिवार में पूछो तुमने खाना कितना गलत क्यों बनाया, सबके पास आंसर है, सबके पास जवाब है। If you can ask the question in a different way, how you can make the food in a better way. Ask the questions in a positive way. The same way you ask your mind all the time, how can I do better today? What I'm grateful today, the world would be a better place for you. I think I can keep on doing a lot of things, but that's where I would stop. मैं अब विराम देता हूँ इस प्रश्न के जवाब का आपको।
दिस इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बात आपने कही है, स्पेशली जो मॉर्निंग के सुबह के कुछ क्षण आपके खुद के लिए जो आपने बताया, दैट रियली मेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस। आई रियली एग्री टू दैट। सर, नाउ कमिंग टू और नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, आई मीन ये जो आज पूरा विश्व एक पर्यावरण की समस्या से जो लड़ रहा है, वेदर इट इज द पोल्यूशन ऑफ वेस्ट वाटर, waste food, waste municipal waste, or different type of industrial waste. और उसके ऊपर बहुत सारा काम भी हो रहा है, नो डाउट अबाउट इट। आई मीन कपल ऑफ एग्जांपल दैट यू गेव, जो आपके विसिनिटी में जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस दे आर डूइंग मल्टी बिलियन डॉलर बिजनेस, प्लस many world leaders, you know, the prime ministers, president of the big countries, ये सब लोग इसके ऊपर कुछ ना कुछ अलग अलग रोड मैप बना के कुछ काम कर रहे हैं। बट डिस्पाइट ऑल दैट, आज ये हमारी पर्यावरण की समस्या इतनी बड़ी क्यों हमें लग रही है? इसका कहाँ पे कोई क्या कारण यहाँ पर दिख रहा है? उसके ऊपर आप कुछ बता सकते हैं तो?
Sure, that's my business. I can speak if Dilip Bhai says 15 hours on that. Right, that's what I've been
Please,
doing
sir.
for almost 30 years. I think, Vishalji, the biggest issue is the ignorance. Agyanta bahut hai. People are not aware about the intensity of the problem, particularly on plastic. The issue is much more serious than being led to believe. Every day we generate 1 million tons of plastic waste. 1 million tons. Choti moti quantity nahi hai. 2,000 truckload every hour. And shamefully, less than 10% is recycled. जो 90% है ना, वो अपन ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन, पोते पड़पोते के लिए छोड़ के जा रहे हैं कि he would handle it in next 200-300 years. There is a tremendous amount of ignorance. And the second ignorance, आप सब सोच रहे होंगे अरे प्लास्टिक तो सब जगह पड़ा है। इंडिया में आप कहीं भी जाओ, you drive from Surat to Baroda, there is a plastic all along the roads. But you start a factory in Bombay, हम लोगों ने बॉम्बे में एक छोटा सा यूनिट बनाया है. We don't have even access to 200 tons of material. My company does 40,000 tons every month. Bombay में 200 ton नहीं मिल रहा है. What's the problem? We don't have collection. The collection is missing. There is no incentive to collect the plastic waste. That's the main issue. So first and foremost, we have to solve the issue of collection. Recycling to baad mein hogi. Now I'm a board member of a alliance which has $1 billion. We don't know who to give this money to because there are not recycling facilities around. So ignorance is the biggest issue. The ignorance, बहुत से लोगों के मन में है कि plastic waste, recycled waste सही नहीं होता है. In England, there is a mandatory mixing of recycled plastic for making bottles for the children, for baby children. Which mother would allow her children to drink milk from a bottle which is made up with the recycled material? बहुत सारा ignorance है. अपने को, to sum it up, we have to make efforts on the collection. We have to sort it out at home so the collection is easier. The waste picker can make some money. That is the first solution. We have to think about it. And there has to be removal of ignorance. People say plastic kam karo. You cannot do plastic less. You wake up in the morning, you use plastics, mobile on your driving car. You can't live without plastic even for 2 hours. We have to accept plastic is important for reducing the food waste, for fuel economy. COVID में अपन कैसे संभव करते plastic के बिना? What is needed is how do you handle plastic after we have used it? And that's the most key issue. And we need to solve that.
That's absolutely right, sir. That's absolutely right. In fact, sir, since you have experience of this recycling across the globe, India, Asia, Europe, and maybe the other continent, Africa, as well as the US. What best practices which you have observed in those countries, in the developed countries, which you think that perhaps we in India is lacking? जैसे आपने बात कही, एक सबसे पहला तो ignorance है, उसी को हमें दूर करना है. But apart from that, any other the framework or the structure or policy, ऐसी कौन सी चीज है जो which is very very well established in the West and which we need to learn probably from them? उसके ऊपर अगर आप कुछ थोड़ी आपकी चर्चा करें हम.
How much time do we still have? It's almost an hour. Dilip Bhai, what do you suggest?
I think, let's do for another 10 minutes.
Very well. Well, I think there are two things which we have to accept to tackle these issues. The first, we have to start sorting the plastics and the waste at source. At home, we must have more than one receptacles to sort out the plastic, paper, and some other things. This is the key problem why the plastic is not being accepted in general, why there is a plastic pollution. We have to sort at home. And second, very important, in economics, we have something called external costs, a cost which your next generation has to pay to take care of the problems. Is on present situation, we have used the plastic, but somebody has to recycle it. Somebody has to pay for their collection and recycling. That's the external cost. And I believe the consumers, the producers must be mentally prepared to pay for these costs upfront. When you buy something made with the plastics, the consumer must pay a little penny, whatever it is, at the time of purchase. That's what most of the Western countries have started to do it. Then there would be funds. That funds can be used for solving the collection and recycling issues.
Okay. तो सर ये पूरी जो समस्या है, you suggested a couple of initiative like जैसे awareness की बात है, ignorance, removing the ignorance and the segregation at source. So in that sense, हम चाहते हैं कि हम हमारे गवर्नमेंट को, हमारी सिटी काउंसिल के साथ हमें कोई कंप्लेन नहीं करनी है. We want to sort it out and we want to take this problem head on. So as a community, as a citizen, what choices do we have? हम एक कोई social intervention की अगर यहाँ कुछ बात करना चाहे तो उसके लिए क्या possibility है?
I think I would give crisp response that please encourage your waste picker, rag pickers to accept the sorted materials. And the next step, if you find this rag pickers has been coming to you for many, many years, help him to build small infrastructure. Give him some money to bale those things in a proper way. He's carrying things in his hand, which makes the life so difficult. You see, even in Bombay, as developed in Bombay, these waste pickers, and I like to call them reclaimers to give dignity to these waste pickers. They must be provided with infrastructure. And that would help to ease the issue. I'm becoming a little bit short and crisp and concise in the response. I hope there are many more other questions from a different angle.
A lot of queries are coming in. It's been a very interesting session. So I have just one last question, and after that maybe we'll take some question from the audience today. तो सर सबसे last question एक मेरे तरफ से है कि you talked about various value based culture in your organization, as you said in your 25th years anniversary आपने तय कर लिया हमें अल्कोहल सर्व नहीं करना है. So likewise, which Jain practices जो हमारे जो value systems की हम बात करते हैं, तो उसमें से ऐसी क्या क्या practices है, ऐसे क्या principles है आपके हिसाब से जिसका हम अगर पालन करें, एटलीस्ट कुछ हद तक हम इस पर्यावरण की समस्या का समाधान उसमें से निकाल सकें, and as a community we can set some example, if not in totality, at least कुछ हद तक हमारा एक योगदान हो सके.
Sure. आचार्य महाप्रज्ञ जी ने मुझे बताया था कि, और जैसा बिपिन जी ने भी बताया कि अपने आगम में भी पर्यावरण की चर्चा है. धरती का दोहन नहीं करें, ऐसा मुझे कहा गया, आचारांग सूत्र में ऐसा हवाला दिया गया है. But when it comes to pollution, recycling, पर्यावरण, it's a lifestyle. It's more of a lifestyle. We have to think from a different angle, if that's your question. That is this the something which our culture allows us to do? We keep on talking about Sayam, we keep on talking about apprigre. And I think in real life, when you do these things, it makes a big difference towards pollution. Now, talking about the office culture, how do we follow in our office the Jain culture? I believe Jain culture and Jain thinking has so much to offer when it comes to lifestyle in office. हम लोग हमारे तेरापंथ में बोलते हैं हम साइड करके बात करते हैं. You don't talk directly. And I believe this is one of the best principles. You don't ask your people, why did he do what he did? Instead of asking why, if we can use the word what, it makes a big difference. Dilip bhai, if you ask somebody who comes to your office late, and you ask him in Bombay, bhai, kyun late aaye? He has 1,000 reasons to explain you. Train time se nahi aayi, phone aa gaya, sab kuch. And if you ask him a question in a different way, ki what he should have done, that he comes to the office in time, he starts thinking in a different way. Secondly, if the ratio of praise to डांटना is 4:1 in our office, we like to have like this. अगर किसी को एक बार डांटा गया तो हम 4 बार उसकी प्रशंसा करना चाहेंगे. So he feels motivated. And the third most important, जो मुझे आचार्य महाप्रज्ञ जी ने कूट के भर दी, कि तुम्हें गुस्सा नहीं करना है, तुम्हें किसी को दुखी नहीं करना है, don't hurt anybody. और उन्होंने मुझे ये बताया कि अगर तुम ऐसा करोगे तो तुम्हारे उद्गल चिपक जाएंगे and you have to pay for it. तो मैं ऑफिस में गुस्सा नहीं करता, अगर झूठ नहीं बोलता. It's not because I don't want to do पाप और मैं जैन धर्म बहुत बड़ा कर रहा हूं, मैं स्वार्थी हो गया. I'm afraid मैंने कुछ भी किया, I have to pay for it. इस जन्म में नहीं तो अगले जन्म में, उससे अगले जन्म में. So I get scared when I do something. And this has a long-term positive implication in your office setup. Everybody feels motivated, they feel in harmony and synchronization. That's all I have to say.
These are truly the pillars on which empire is built, on which your personality, character, and everything is built. Truly, it's really inspiring journey, sir. And now we have a couple of questions from the audience. I would request Kavita ji to unmute the audience who have raised their hand so that they can directly ask question to Surendra ji.
Now, Prakash ji Mehta, I have unmute yourself. Sir, please go ahead. Prakash ji Mehta. Yeah, thank you.
जय जिनेंद्र सुरेंद्र जी, सीए सुरेंद्र जी. मैं भी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हूँ, मैं अबू धाबी में हूँ और आपको सुनने का सौभाग्य मिला था पिछले साल एनुअल सेमिनार में भी. आप यहाँ अबू धाबी के चैप्टर के एनुअल सेमिनार में आप आमंत्रित थे, आपको सुना था. वो स्पीच आपकी एकदम डिफरेंट थी. आज एकदम वैल्यू बेस्ड थी, जो जैनिज्म और जो वैल्यू बेस्ड प्रैक्टिसेज है उसके ऊपर. नो डाउट आप नोबल बिजनेस में हैं, जिसको क्रूड वे में कचरा बिजनेस कहा जा सकता है. लेकिन आप कचरे में से, जैसे सोना हीरा खानों में से निकलता है, सोना मिट्टी में से निकलता है, उसी तरह आप रिसाइकलिंग बिजनेस में ये सब कर रहे हैं. एक तो है रिसाइकलिंग, जो कि हम वेस्ट जनरेट करते हैं उसका आप रिसाइकल करते हैं. दूसरा एक हमको अपनी हैबिट भी चेंज करनी है, जिससे कि वेस्ट कम क्रिएट हो. हम अननेसेसरी बहुत ज्यादा एक्सेसिव यूज करते हैं, उससे वेस्ट ज्यादा क्रिएट होता है. वो और सोसाइटी के ऊपर बर्डन होता है, एनवायरनमेंट के, सोसाइटी के ऊपर. उसके लिए आप क्या सलाह देंगे, कैसे सबको, ताकि हम वेस्ट कम जनरेट करें, जितनी जरूरत हो उतना ही जनरेट करें?
Well, Prakash ji, thank you for listening to my presentation in Dubai. Indeed, it was a different presentation. I think, like I said earlier, it's a question of your lifestyle. I remember one of very senior executive of either Facebook or some other high-tech company. He likes to have only 4 pieces of shirts. 4 ही शर्ट एक ही कलर के रखते हैं. He says, I don't have time every day to evaluate कौन सा पहनूं. वो 4 में वही ऑफिस में मैं जाऊंगा, अब आज मैंने येलो पहना है, कल भी येलो व्हाइट पहनूं, तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? It's a question of your mindset. I think we have to change our mindset. Everything is related to mind. And this is what our Jain culture always has been emphasized. कि मन को चेंज करो, अपने आप ही दूसरी चीजें, पूरी दुनिया चेंज हो जाएगी. अपन मन ही चेंज नहीं कर रहे हैं. We go by what the world thinks about us. Then you have a different way of thinking. You have to think yourself. अपन खुद का आत्म स्वदाय कैसे करें? That's the only point I would recommend to you.
Thank you. Next question will be Shubh Nahata ji.
हाँ सुरेंद्र जी, जय जिनेंद्र। मैं एक्चुअली आपको जैसे मोमा सर से जानता हूँ, मैं जयपुर को बिलोंग करता हूँ, और आपने जो रिसाइकलिंग किया, मैं एक थोड़ा सा सुझाव देना चाहता हूँ कि प्लास्टिक पर रोक है, लेकिन प्लास्टिक मैन्युफैक्चरर पर कोई रोक नहीं है। जैसे मैं डेयरी इंडस्ट्री में मैं क्वालिटी कंट्रोल ऑफिसर रहा हूँ, मतलब हमने जो स्टार्ट किया, पहले बोटल्स में सप्लाई करते थे, बाद में प्लास्टिक आ गया, and a huge amount of the plastic is used due to the cheapness, मतलब तो why not a huge cess on the plastic manufacturer, जो कि यूज किया जाए रिसाइकलिंग के लिए या पॉल्यूशन के लिए। जैसे पेट्रोल डीजल में सेस है, वैसे ही प्लास्टिक पर भी सेस होना चाहिए या ह्यूज टैक्सेशन होना चाहिए, जैसे कि सिगरेट पर है, वाइन पर है, वैसे मतलब तो प्लास्टिक का यूज कम हो सकता है। मतलब आई थिंक इट इज यदि सजेशन यदि गवर्नमेंट माने तो बहुत कुछ ये प्लास्टिक पर रोक लग सकती है।
I think, Nata Saab, you have hit the main point. During last 1 month, I have been interacting with the senior people of the world, the CEOs of bigger organizations. Dilip bhai, last week, I happened to be in a meeting where there were 12 people. They were controlling $15 trillion business, $15 trillion. Bank of America CEOs, HSBC CEO, State Street, and that's the point I tried to mention to them. नाटा जी, जो आप कह रहे हैं ना, ये बड़े बड़े लोगों के पास इतना इन्फ्लुएंस है गवर्नमेंट के साथ कि the recycling community do not have much say in them, and our voices are not heard properly. So this is the point I am making almost every week, that the person, the company who generates the plastic, he must pay for it. And if he doesn't pay, the consumer has to pay. Somebody has to pay this external cost. Somebody must pay the cost which our grandchildren have to take care of. अपन तो plastic छोड़ के चले जाएंगे. There are 12 billion tons of plastic. Billion, मैं million नहीं कह रहा हूँ, by 2050. और अपन अपने बच्चों के लिए छोड़ के जा रहे हैं. And how they would take care of it? The money has to be paid upfront by the people who pollute. The polluter must pay the price. That's what you are championing, and I agree completely with you.
Dilip bhai would like to have some question with you. Dilip bhai, all yours.
Super presentation, Surendra bhai. Something that actually what Mr. Shubh Nahata bole, that assess kind of thing will be very important. So if actually there is a health hazard, for example, on cigarettes, as he actually mentioned, or tobacco, or jo pan parag ho raha hai India mein, so there is a kind of a punitive taxes. So now, of course, these people have such a huge influence with the government, and the major corporations, they have no interest in what happens in 50 years or 20 years time. It is, of course, it's about tomorrow and today, because these are CEOs who are going to last, every, they have to actually worry about every quarter, and they need to ensure that they continue to make good money and show the profit. However, what I have seen, of late, there is a fantastic push towards, cleaner energy, for example. And if I have seen that, call it investment in those companies are now actually subsidize, and more and more larger corporations want to have those investment in their portfolios. Is there a way, you know, that your industry and your call it recycling people can actually do something whereby, you know, yourself can make, you know, investment, you know, in turn what you get from the investors or investing community?
Well, Dilip bhai, there is so much money available for recycling. It's incredible. If you have a viable project on recycling, even we in Singapore have almost $1 billion funds waiting for investment. There are many people who are coming up from India with the prospective project, कि हम इतना काम कर देंगे, and then they ask for 4 million, 10 million, but the reality is different because there is no feedstock. So the money is not a problem. Absolutely, this is my message to everybody. When it comes to recycling, there is so much money waiting to invest. I've been told this year alone in ESG, $54 billion have been collected. वो पैसा कहाँ लगाएंगे? और all these things, जैसे मैंने पलसानिया जी का मैसेज सुना, extended producer responsibility, भाई इंडिया में तो 5 साल ही नहीं आएगा. There is no commitment. I strongly say that most of these biggies have a greenwashing movement. They want to show to the world they are doing a lot, but the problem is much more serious. So the issue is not money. Issue is to find way how to collect the feedstock. That's the main issues. और वो कचरा पड़ा है, किसी के interest में नहीं है, who is going to collect it? Everybody is the boss, owner of that kachra. So the main issue is that we have to find way how to give monetizations, how to create a system that collection procedure infrastructure starts. And once that starts, there would be billions in this industry, billions. And of course, like you said, that the bigger corporation have a much bigger influence than the smaller people like us. And that's always the case. So here we need the press, politicians, public to make a bigger influence to raise their voice. Thank you.
One last question from Eram Rizvi.
Good evening, sir. It was wonderful just listening to you. And I would like to really talk to you about this because my father has a huge land in Andheri East, which he gives to waste management companies. But we have really never had any interest in what kind of work they were doing. Now we are kind of clearing out that land from waste management companies and putting them to other uses. But what you are saying is fantastic. And I also like to say that because I'm into conservation, wildlife, trees, infrastructure, and all those kinds of things. So there are these great, we need to strategically check out what you're saying is feed of where this exactly comes from, because generally, as far as I have read with my limited knowledge, that rich countries actually have deals with poor countries to send out the waste to those countries. And the maximum amount of plastic waste comes from places like China, Vietnam, Philippines, and like there is this massive Great Pacific garbage patch, which goes from Japan to Hawaii. It's like a few times the size of France. It's so huge. And 46% of it comprises of fishing nets. Okay. So, and it's millions and millions of metric tons of plastic. So like what we can do is like, we have to have strategies at every level. We cannot just do it singularly. Like each person has to, like not each person, but these groups have to take responsibilities. Like we have volunteer groups across India, and we give them different specific strategies that your job for conservation is this. So we have to have an infrastructure with the rag pickers. Somebody has to collect the rag pickers of India. We have to get their infrastructure licensed through the BMC. We cannot proceed, I think, without them. And that is what I'm saying. What do you think? We have to join hands with the conservationists as well, because the plastic that is going into the ocean, like the deepest part of the ocean, the marine.
May I disturb, ma'am? May I disturb, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just would like to have a question.
Yeah. So I was just coming up to it because I had to speak this before saying that. So the deepest part of the oceans have plastic. So as a recycle business, we cannot just work with only recycling feedstockers. We have to work with the conservationists as well, because they know exactly where the plastic is. So, and that's how they can also provide the feedstock. So it's like
I lost you. It's still continuing. I lost her.
She has asked.
Also, yeah, we can't hear her, sir. There seems to be some issue with her line.
Right. I think if she would like to contact me separately, it's okay as well from my side.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We will share your email ID so that she can contact. Okay. So thank you so much, sir, for an excellent session. I would now invite my colleague Shwetal Shahji to propose word of thanks. Shwetalji.
Thank you, sir, for very inspiring words and putting Jainism in your entire talk in the relevance. So the best message that we are thankful to you is that you have said that if we catch the ethics and if we really follow the principles with true belief in it, then we can make headways. So this is the I think the message from your entire thing, and we from Applied Jainism group try to identify such story, and your case study is really one which we can directly link with this our entire thought process. So we also are very thankful to Dilip ji for making this happen in a very short time. Sir, you accepted our invitation and give your Sunday time to all of us, and we are also thankful to our mentor Dr. Bipin Doshi and the entire team led by Sangeeta ji and all our colleagues. And we are also thankful to Jain Study Group and Therapanth Professional Forum for being with us today. And also we are thankful to our technical team who arranged this platform and also Facebook Live and things. Sir, really we wish to continue, but due to paucity of time, we are ending today's session with great thanks. And we really would like to explore much more with our Jainism principle and how we can really live with these principles so that we can progress in our both the life, as you told, external life to manage the things, and internal life that is the leadership of our thoughts and deeds. So thank you, sir, for this various messages that you imbibed in one talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Surendra ji. Good evening.
Thank you
so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So with this, we conclude our session, and we hope to meet you all next time, next month. Bye-bye. See you. Bye until then.